Hello everyone. Today I will be talking about examination of the ankle joint. So myself Dr. Sneha Bhatia, MPT in Orthopedics and Sports Rehabilitation, in charge principal athlete Srimati S.C. Patel Institute of Physiotherapy. So when we are going for the examination of the ankle joint, first of all we have to check the active movements of the ankle joint. Painful movement should be checked at the last. That means suppose dorsiflexion of the ankle joint is giving pain to the patient, then we can check dorsiflexion of ankle at the last. Other movements like plantar flexion, inversion and eversion can be checked first, and at the last we can do the movement which is painful for the patient. Check the movements in non-weight bearing position and then check the movements in weight bearing position. So we have to check all the ankle movements both in weight bearing position as well as non-weight bearing position. So when the patient is standing on the floor and then we are checking the movement, it will become weight bearing position. And when the patient is lying on the couch in the supine position and we are checking the ankle movements in when the patient is in supine position, that will become non-weight bearing position. So weight bearing active movements of the lower leg, ankle and foot will be plantar flexion, that is also considered as the flexion of the ankle, which is standing on the toes. Then dorsiflexion, that is extension, that is standing on the heels in the weight bearing position. Supination, standing on the lateral edge of the foot. Pronation, for pronation we have to ask the patient to stand on the medial edge of the foot. Then we have to check for the toe extension and toe flexion. Combined movement should be checked if it is necessary. If the patient is giving history that sustained movements and repetitive movements are causing pain to the patient, then we have to also check the sustained movements and repetitive movements. So in the weight bearing position, that is the standing position, we must assess plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, supination, pronation, toe extension and flexion movements. In the non-weight bearing active movement of the lower leg, ankle and foot, we have to check the plantar flexion, which will be around 50 degrees. Dorsiflexion, that is also considered as the extension, which will be around 20 degrees. Supination movement around 45 degrees to 60 degrees it will be, and pronation movement it will be around 15 degrees to 30 degrees. Toe extension, lateral four toes we have to check, so they on the great toe extension also we have to check. Then toe flexion movements of the lateral four toes and the great toe separately we have to check for it, because each joint is having different value for the movement. Range of motion is different at different joints. Toe abduction and toe adduction we have to check, and if the patient gives the history that combined movements are painful or sustained movements and repetitive movements are painful for the patient, then we have to check the combined movements, sustained movement and the repetitive movements. So this is the picture showing the active movements of the patient in the weight bearing position, that is in the standing position. So in first picture, picture A, we can see the patient is performing plantar flexion movement, that is standing on the toes. In picture B, we can see the dorsiflexion movement, that is standing on the heels. In picture C, we can see the supination movement, that is standing on the lateral edge of the foot. In the picture D, we can see the pronation movement, that is standing on the medial edge of the foot. In picture E, we can see toe extension movement, and picture F, we can see toe flexion movement. So this picture is showing about the active movements in the non-weight bearing position. So as you can see, the patient's legs are in the supine position. So patient is most probably in the supine position on the couch, and then he is performing all the movements of the ankle joint. So picture A indicates the plantar flexion movement, picture B indicates the dorsiflexion movement, picture C is about the supination movement, picture D is about the pronation movement, picture E shows us toe extension, picture F shows us toe flexion, in G that is toe abduction movement, and H picture shows toe adduction movement. So peripheral nerve injuries may also alter the pattern of the movement. For example, the common peroneal nerve may be injured as it winds around the head of the fibula, resulting in altered nerve conduction to the peroneus longus and brevis muscles, and or the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus and extensor hallucis longus muscle. So if there is peripheral nerve injury, that can alter the pattern of the active movement. Coming to the passive movement examination, so after the physiotherapist has completed the active movement examination, he has to check the passive movement. So passive movement should be performed in non-weight bearing position, that is the patient can be lying on the couch and then the therapist can check the passive movement. Overpressure can be applied to test the end field. So we have in passive movement examination, mainly we have to check for the end field. Movements may be tested in combination to more closely approximate what occurs functionally. For example, instead of testing plantar flexion, adduction and inversion separately, supination as a combined movement may be tested. So they are telling us that if we check separately plantar flexion, adduction and inversion, instead of that we can directly check combination of movement, that is the supination for all these three movements, because that is more functional movement, and functionally the patient will be using such movements like pronation and supination in activities of daily living. So similarly, pronation may be tested as a combined movement instead of dorsiflexion, abduction and eversion. So instead of checking dorsiflexion, abduction and eversion separately, we can check pronation of the foot. So passive movements of the lower leg, ankle, foot and the normal end field. So as you can see from this picture, it is very clear that almost all the movements of the ankle joint is having tissue stretch as the end field. So plantar flexion at the talocrural joint and dorsiflexion at the talocrural joint, it has tissue stretch end field. Inversion and eversion at the subtalar joint has tissue stretch as the end field. Abduction and adduction at the mid-tarsal joint has tissue stretch at the end field. Flexion and extension of the toes and also the adduction and the abduction of the toes also has tissue stretch as end field. So this is the picture showing the passive movement examination. So in the first picture, that is picture A, we can see the plantar flexion movement. So one hand of the therapist is on the ankle joint, the other hand is holding the forefoot of the patient, and then the therapist is checking for the plantar flexion. In picture B, we can see the dorsiflexion movement. So one hand will grasp the lower end of the tibia and fibula, and the other hand is grasping the calcaneum, and then the forefoot of the patient can rest on the therapist forearm, and then we are checking the dorsiflexion movement. Some amount of overpressure can be applied at the end of the range of motion. In picture C, we can see the inversion movement. In picture D, we can see the eversion movement. In picture E, we can see the abduction and the adduction movement. In picture F, the therapist is checking for the toe flexion movement. So therapist is having the hand on the toes and trying to bend it into flexion. In picture G, we can see the toe abduction movement. So these are the movement. Passive movement examination can be done by the therapist passively. So reference for today's video, I have taken the video from the book Orthopedic Physical Assessment, David Magee. So thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed watching this video, then please subscribe my channel and share it with your friends.